Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. So I'm here with my monthly book video. So in these videos I talked about the books that I read in the previous month. So in this case, the books I read in May, and then I'll be sharing with you the books that I am planning to read for June. And since this video always goes up late, I've actually already read some of the books for June, but I'll just show you my June books, and then my next month's video I'll discuss you know, what of those books I actually was able to read. Yeah. So starting with the books I read in May, and actually I was able to read all the books that I mentioned in my previous video. So for May, I read 5 books, which has been awesome. The first 3 were from the Jessica Darling series. This is by McCafferty. So there's 5 books in the series. It follows Jessica Darling. She's the main character. It follows her high school through her like mid-20s. So I read Charmed Thirds. This is her in college. It kind of follows her through her like all of her breaks from college, so when she's like home, so like Christmas and summer breaks. Then Forthcomings, she's a recent college graduate, she's living in New York City. And then Perfect Fifths is the final book in the series. I really love this series. I always reread the first 2 books in the series, so it was really nice to be able to read all of the series, especially these books that I haven't reread. I don't know if I've reread these before, if I only just read them the first time, but these were good. And then the next book I read, another series. This was the Bridget Jones' Diary, Mad About the Boy by Helen Fielding. So the original Bridget Jones's Diary books came out in the 90s, and this was out in 2013. It's kind of Bridget Jones, like, where is she now sort of book. I don't want to get too much into this or give any spoilers away. I will say I didn't exactly like the way her life turned out. And if you read the book, you'll know what I'm meaning by this. I can see for the point of reading the book, for the point of writing the book, why the author kind of took Bridget's life in a certain direction. But that being said, I don't think it's like a necessary book to read if you like the previous books or the movies. I don't think you necessarily have to read this. You can just be fine with the 90s version of Bridget Jones. You don't really need the update on her life. That being said, I did enjoy the book, and once I kind of accepted where the storyline went, I did like it. It was fun to read. Nothing like amazing, but it was still in like kind of diary format. She's like on Twitter, which is kind of funny, so it's sort of like similar to the original books from the 90s, but updated for like today's time. So it was a fun read. It was a quick read. So there's that. And then the final book I read for May was Landline by Rowell. And this one is about a husband and wife. The wife is very career-oriented. She's has to write like pilot and episodes for a television show, and it's right around Christmas time. But she's supposed to go with her husband and her 2 little daughters to Nebraska for Christmas time to visit her husband's family, but she can't go because she's writing this television show. And basically the start of the book is that her marriage with her husband is kind of disintegrating, and they're going to be separated for Christmas, and she tries to call him on his cell phone, and he's really not being responsive to her. They're in this kind of fight, but when she goes to her mother's house, her mom has a landline in her old bedroom, and she's able to call her husband like when her husband was like 20 years before, like when he was like in college, so she can talk with her husband like from the past. It was really interesting kind of concept, and she's trying to like think, is this like Back to the Future? Like if I don't say the right thing, will my family disappear? Will it mean if I don't say the right thing that he won't ask me to marry him? So a very interesting book. A very interesting idea. I did really like this one. I like anything by this author. But yeah, really did like this one. So that's everything I read in May. And then for June, I also have 5 books that I'm planning to read. A few of them, as I did mention, I've already read. But for now, I'll just show you everything. I won't really go into a lot about them. So the first one is Everything Nice. This is by Shanman. And this one is a woman. She's like in her early 30s, and she gets basically fired from her job, so she kind of has to, you know, kind of rediscover herself and kind of figure out, you know, what's really important to her and kind of redefine her life. So that is the first one. And the second one is by Meg Wolitzer. This is Belzhar. And this author, I've read another book by her, The Interestings. It's an adult novel. This is a young adult novel. This is about, I don't know how they phrase it, like delicate, like troubled teens that have gone through something really traumatic in their lives, and they go to this special like boarding school. So the main character is going to this boarding school. So it's kind of about this, and she's in a special English class that they write in a journal, and it kind of transports them back to the time period, whatever this traumatic time period is. So I did actually read this one. These two I've actually already read, but I'll talk more about those next month. But this one I want to read this month, and then the next one is Perfect Match by Jodi Picoult. This one I've started. I had trying to get through some of my like older books that I've had on my bookshelf. I have a few Jodi Picoult novels that I haven't read yet that I own. And this was one of them. So this one is about like an attorney and her husband, and then their son has been molested. So it kind of goes into that story. So kind of a heavy book, not like the most happiest of topics, but got started on that one. And I do really like all of Jodi Picoult's books. She talks about a lot of issues that are very relevant, a lot of controversial issues. So there's that. And then I also want to reread a book this month, and that book is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. So I had my like reading goals for 2015. One of them was to reread Gone Girl, and then to also watch the movie. I watched the movie in theaters, and I have the DVD of it, but I wanted to reread the book and then watch the DVD of it. So thought this would be a good month to reread Gone Girl. And then finally, the last book that I want to read this month is this book. This is Spain, A Culinary Road Trip by Batali with Gwyneth Paltrow. And this is part cookbook, part like travel memoirs. There's lots of pictures. So it's not like a very long book. I've already read about a third of it, so it won't take me very long to read. The reason I want to read this is because in July I'm actually going to be going to Spain with some of my friends, and I kind of really don't know much about Spain. So I thought it would be interesting because I really like food. And my parents actually went to Spain, I don't know when it was, quite a few years ago, but I bought them this book after they got back for like a Christmas gift, I think. So I thought this would be interesting for me to read before I go, just so I can kind of be more familiar with the food of Spain and like the different regions of Spain, because this kind of covers, they traveled like all throughout Spain and ate food in different regions. So I thought this would be an interesting book to read before I go to Spain this summer. So that is everything. And yeah, I have 5 books to read in June. I really have been more into reading lately. The beginning of the year, I just wasn't as much. I think I was a little more busy or stressed, or I'm not really sure. But now I'm really back into reading, and yeah, I've really been enjoying it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.